It's Wednesday, August 14, 2019, and this is Globespan 24x7 News. My name is Samuel Suknandan, coming to you live from Georgetown, Guyana. Here are the major headlines for today. House-to-house registration exercise not unconstitutional, Chief Justice rules. Plans afoot to appeal High Court decision on house-to-house registration exercise. President calls for an inquiry into presidential guards' theft. Political situation poses challenge to economic growth. And Regina secondary school students top CSEC. We begin tonight's newscast by telling you that after days of high anticipation for the ruling regarding the current house-to-house registration case, Guyana's Chief Justice Roxanne George has ruled that this process is not unlawful or unconstitutional. We find out more in this report.
Accountant and attorney at law Christopher Ram on July 22nd filed an application asking the High Court to declare that the current house-to-house registration exercise is in violation of the Constitution of Guyana and previous orders issued by the CCJ. Ram challenged the exercise, citing that it is only a means to further delay the general elections, putting forward a September 18th date for it to be held. Earlier today, Chief Justice Roxanne George ruled that the ongoing house-to-house registration exercise is not unconstitutional or unlawful.
He stated that GEORGETOWN has a duty to ensure that the electoral roll does not include persons either who do not exist or whose names are entered into the official list of electors contrary to law. He did not say what law he was referring to specifically. In this regard, he has certainly given advice that the applicant does not have that there was no constitutional right to vote, but a constitutional right to be registered pursuant to Article 159.
The Chief Justice ruled that the court cannot order that elections be held on a certain date in relation to the proposed September 18th date put forward by Ram. Reporting for Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
Following today's High Court ruling in relation to the current house-to-house registration process, attorney representing the applicant in the matter, Anil Nandalal, has expressed his intention to appeal the matter.
Obviously, we will appeal because we do not agree that no time frame has been fixed. It cannot be. The Chief Justice herself said in her original ruling, when the case was first filed, that Article 106 and 107 were activated. It cannot be open-ended. The CCJ judgment could not have meant that elections will never be held unless Parliament agrees. Suppose Parliament does not agree, there is always a time frame implied. The Constitution must be obeyed at its earliest convenience. And in relation to that, obviously, I am not, respectfully, I am not impressed with that ruling, with that aspect of the ruling, and that certainly will excite the review of an appellate tribunal.
Prominent attorney Ralph Ramkran also agreed with Nandlal's opinion.
Well, I agree with Mr. Nandalal. It needs to be said that we won a very important aspect of the case, and that is while the decision of the learned trial judge, the Chief Justice, has to be reviewed to see exactly what she said in relation to the date, and which appears on the surface to leave the election date to be open-ended. Her decision in relation to the list is very important, and that would probably tend to bring the government back into the mode where they have to consider an earlier date than they would normally have to do, because she ruled, as you know, that names cannot be taken off the register merely because they are not at the address at which they are supposed to be. And therefore, and she also said that residency is not a requirement to be on the list. Therefore, to that extent, the exercise, the house-to-house exercise which is going on, is deeply flawed.
In the meantime, Attorney General Basil Williams said he was pleased with certain aspects of the ruling, but the government will now have to seek clarity on some issues. My apologies, we'll refer to that later on. The Working People's Alliance, WPA, a member of the coalition government, said it respects the High Court ruling regarding the house-to-house registration exercise in its entirety and urge all parties and organizations to do so. The party said in a statement today that Chief Justice Roxanne George should be commended for her very balanced and reasoned conclusions. Open quote. The WPA has always felt that this recent move to the court was nothing short of legal and constitutional gymnastics aimed at the larger PPP agenda of frustrating credible elections. The CCJ's ruling and orders were very clear that the court does not have the constitutional right to interfere with the process by which an election date is determined. That is a matter for the president in consultation with GCOM. We salute the court for not tampering with the CCJ's ruling. End quote, the statement added. The WPA said it is therefore calling on the PPPC to acknowledge that its attempt at railroading the judicial process has been defeated. Open quote. It must now return to Parliament to facilitate the desired extension of the life of government. Refusal to do so would further tarnish the party's image and render it unfit to lead Guyana. Meanwhile, opposition leader and General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic, Bharat Jagdeo, addressed the media following the High Court ruling regarding the case and repeated that the CCJ ruling is clear and should not be overshadowed by everything that is currently taking place. He maintains that despite today's ruling, his party will not support an extension of the life of government.
The CCJ said the Constitution does not need glossing over. Its language is unambiguous. You must honor the Constitution with integrity. President Granger needs to honor our Constitution with integrity. He's been running an illegal government since March 21st. He never sought an extension. Until now, they never sought an extension formally. And so he has been running, and we do not intend, let me make it clear, we do not intend to extend the life of the government. So that means that they are being unconstitutional since then. He's been running an illegal government. These are illegal ministers. We have an illegal president now. We only have to deal with him because we still need somebody who has constitutional authority to move things forward based on Article 106.7, where it says the president should remain in office until the new president is sworn in.
We will refer a little later on the comments made by the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Mr. Basil Williams. Rihanna Tony, a student of the Anna Regina Secondary School, has been named this year's top student after achieving 19 grade 1 passes at the recent Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC exams. Copying the second position was Alex Abraham from St. Rose's High School, who gained 18 grade 1 passes and 2 grade 2s. Also coming from the Anna Regina Secondary School was Chandradat Narain, who gained 18 grade 1 passes and 1 grade 2. We will provide you with more details about the examination results in a subsequent newscast. Despite the improved growth in the country's economy, the current political situation continues to pose a major challenge to further development. We find out why in this report.
The CCJ said the Constitution does not need glossing over. Its language.
I did mention that we expect 4.5% growth at the end of this year, but of course everything has an if and a but. Okay, and you know there are downside risks that can challenge us getting there. One of which is the challenging political environment that has been there since December 2018. Well, in a sense, is accelerated because, quite frankly, since 2015, we have been operating in a challenging environment.
That was Finance Minister Winston Jordan addressing the media earlier today. He said that the situation will remain the same until the political issues are resolved. However, the minister noted that it could have a negative impact on economic growth. But asked to explain what he meant by that statement, the minister had something else to say.
Going forward, we have tried to take a conservative approach. So unless you wake up tomorrow and hear strike action, wildcat strikes in the sugar industry, perhaps, or something happens on rice that has nothing to do with the paddy bug or so on, we do not see political action having any great toll on achieving the 4.5% growth. Indeed,
some private sector organizations have complained that the political climate has in fact affected their sales and general business. While no formal study has been done to verify the impact this has made to the business community, business people are complaining daily. Government has stated that given its interim status, it does not intend to sign any major contract with investors both locally and internationally. This too could in fact impact business and the general economic outlook for the country. For Globespan 24x7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. We apologize for the mix-up earlier. We continue tonight's news by telling you that Guyana's economy grew by 4% in the first 6 months of 2019 when compared to the same period in 2018. This percentage is expected to increase to 4.5% by the end of this year. Kipney Jordan has that report.
Government has predicted that by year-end, Guyana could see a 4.5% increase in economic growth in comparison to the same period in 2018. This was according to Finance Minister Winston Jordan, who launched the government's mid-year financial report today.
if I were to give you a bit of comparisons of where we are or where we are between 2015 and 2019, every year this economy grew. In 2015, we recorded growth of 3.2%. In 2016, 3.4%. In 2017, which was our only bad year, 2.1%. In 2018, 4.1%. And in 2019, we estimated 4.5%.
He added that the country's public debt remains sustainable and faces a moderate risk of distress. This, he noted, is primarily because of the government's commitment to meeting its financial needs and payment obligations to the lowest possible cost over the medium to long term within the prudent risk factors.
In terms of the public debt, Guyana's public debt has remained very stable. The stock of total public debt at the end of 2019 is roughly $1.7 billion, a slight increase of 1.5%.
When asked about the performance of public enterprises, Jordan said most public entities are in deficit, paying out more than they receive in revenue, and GUYANA will be the only enterprise doing well as they are continuously bringing in revenue.
It is difficult to find a best performing public enterprise, because to be quite honest, almost all of them are either at the margin of profits, which is thereabout, very small compared to the assets employed, or a number of them are in deficit.
Entities in deficit are cash-strapped GUYSUCO and the National Insurance Scheme, NIS. For Globespan 24x7 News, Kipney Jordan.
Thanks, Kipney. President David Granger this morning called for an inquiry into the death of Police Constable 2045 Winston Cooper during a visit to his East Rhineville Georgetown home after learning of his death. The president was accompanied by Commissioner of Police Acting Nigel Hoppy. President Granger empathized with Cooper's grieving mother, Miss Lorraine Peters, and other relatives. He then tasked the acting commissioner to conduct an investigation into the matter. Open quote. As you know, he's a member of the Presidential Guard. What I will ask the commissioner to do is to conduct an inquiry to find out how this incident could have happened, end quote, the head of state said. The 32-year-old presidential guard died this morning after a few weeks of hospitalization. He was found unconscious opposite the National Gymnasium by first responders of the Ghana Fire Service at about 5:30 a.m. on July 1, 2019, and was rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, where he received medical attention. Residents of several communities in the capital city of Georgetown woke up to their yards and streets flooded due to heavy downpours, but one councillor, Ikita Edwards, said the CSEC and Princess Streets pumps were dysfunctional and the southern Georgetown area was flooded due to someone neglecting their responsibilities.
Government has predicted that by year-end, Guyana could see a 4.5 increase in economic.
That the system of management is failing. And we want to be transparent to allow the public to know that we are working, however, there are obstacles within our way.
The press conference was held in light of the heavy flooding of areas in southern Georgetown, which has affected residents in all Boys Town area. Acting Deputy Engineer Kenson Boston said it was reported that two pumps were not working.
We have launched an investigation as to find out what exactly has occurred. Because the standard operation procedure is that once it rains, the superintendents are charged to put on the pumps at high tide and open the sluice door at the low tide.
Even though there was heavy flooding, there were no reports of any severe losses or damages. This was according to Acting Town Clerk Sherry Jerrick.
There appeared to be some amount of neglect. As a result of that, an investigation is launched, and the report of that investigation is expected by 3 p.m. this afternoon. Thereafter, disciplinary action will be taken against anyone that is culpable of neglect in the performance of his duty.
We will now refer to the earlier comment made by Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams following the High Court's decision on the house-to-house registration case.
The issue that the Lord Chief Justice referred to about the removal of names from the register, there was no application or any declaration asked by the applicant in relation thereto. So that's a matter that we never really had a chance to litigate, really put our position in relation thereto. So GCOM would have to look at that. But what is very important is that the house is not unconstitutional. No date was ever fixed by the CCJ, and she wouldn't fix the date either. Nor no elections are to be held in 3 months, as they had contended. And generally, there was nothing that was asked for by the applicant that was successful.
President David Granger this morning accepted the letters of credence from Dr. K.J. Srivastava, accrediting him as the new High Commissioner of India to Guyana. Dr. Srivastava replaces the former High Commissioner whose tour of duty ended on July 1, 2019. In his remarks, President Granger said Guyana and India are bound together by ties of blood, history, and common interests since immigrants from India came to Guyana 181 years ago, and their descendants today constitute a large population of the country's population. He noted that India was among the first countries to establish diplomatic relations with Guyana after it became independent on May 26, 1966. Open quote, Guyana and India have enjoyed excellent relations over the past 53 years, the president added. The head of state noted that the relations between the two countries continue to be enhanced by high-level engagements between officials of both states, as Guyana would have signed and ratified the framework agreement of the International Solar Alliance in January of 2018 under his tenure. Meanwhile, Ambassador Srivastava, in his remarks, said, although India and Guyana are separated by long distance, they have common characteristics and can continue to collaborate in a number of areas. 106 Indigenous youths were Monday selected to participate in the Department of Social Cohesion's Inter-Village Social Cohesion Exchange Program as part of International Youth Day 2019 celebrations. More in this report.
Youths representing 15 indigenous communities on Monday assembled at the Cato Secondary School for the launching. This is the first time a program of such nature was launched in the Region 8 area. Minister of State Dawn Hastings, while delivering the feature address, urged the youths present to play an active role in Guyana's future.
Your government believes in the great potential of Guyanese youth, and this is why we are investing considerably into our youth for creating job opportunities to building and strengthening our education system. Your government is committed to building young people's character, skills, abilities, and competencies so that you can become productive members of your society and that you can realize your full potential. Hence, you have this youth camp, third of its kind in the country, and the very first of its kind in the North Pacaraimans. Not many of the modern and developed countries are beautiful as this. Some were just deserts. For example, Dubai. I visited Dubai 2 months, some time ago, in company with Miss Lewis, and they were giving us some history. Their airport was just a runway, an ordinary runway. And today, Dubai has the biggest airport in the world. So many things weren't there like what you have. And you will see that about many other countries. But with this beautiful scenery, your fresh air, and this exciting trip up and down on an ATV, just imagine, if possible by 2020, 2030, 2040, what a beautiful city this can be. Another tongue in region number 8 besides Madhya. Don't you think that's possible? And that vision, that dreams, that initiative lies, I'm quite sure, in many of these young people who are here with us today. And so I want to encourage you to make full use of the 8 days that you have here, intermingling with each other, sharing ideas, sharing your dreams, sharing your visions, and you will be an active participant in developing North Pacaraima, Patara-Siparuni region, and your country as a whole.
Minister Hastings then went on to explain that over the course of the program, the youths will be exposed to sessions that will boost their self-confidence. They seek to achieve this goal through the use of various teachings, particularly understanding conflict resolution.
We need to work together in unity to move Guyana forward. And hence, in keeping with this, the Department of Social Cohesion, Culture, Youth and Sport has planned several sessions over an 8-day period to engage you, the participants, in exercises aimed at boosting your self-confidence. Let me give you a little secret. If you don't love yourself, nobody will love you that much. You have to love yourself.
Reporting for Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
We'll go to a short message. Please stay tuned.
We would like to ask all of our faithful viewers to kindly like and follow Globespan 24x7 Facebook page and subscribe to Globespan 24x7 YouTube channel to receive up-to-date notifications of when we are live. Globespan 24x7 has vacancies for full-time positions such as reporters, newscasters, and news editors. Persons serious about joining a new and dynamic news team are asked to send their application to careers@globespantechnology.com.
This newscast is brought to you with the kind compliments of TravelSpan GT, with locations in Georgetown and Berbice. For all your travel needs, call Travelspan GT at 327-1701, located at Lot 3A North Road, Georgetown, between Camp and Wellington Street. In Rose Hall, call 337-4287, and in New Amsterdam, call 333-6230. Call Travelspan today.
Thanks for staying with us. We'll now take a look at our regional and international news. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister and political leader of the People's National Movement, PNM, Dr. Keith Rowley, has revoked the appointment of Marlene MacDonald as the deputy political leader of the PNM. Dr. Rowley made the announcement via his Facebook page. MacDonald was one of the 4 deputy political leaders of that party, together with the THA Chief Strategy Kelvin Charles, Works and Transport Minister Rohan Sinanan, and party stalwart Joan Yule Williams. MacDonald was removed as Minister of Public Administration on Monday, with the office of the Prime Minister announcing that Prime Minister D.R. Rowley would take up that portfolio. The new position was initially earmarked for Government Senator Garvin Simonet, but the swearing-in ceremony was postponed in light of the new minister getting some new information on the new minister. Shortly after the government had announced its decision to appoint Simonet as MacDonald's replacement, pictures began circulating of a 2014 mock shot of Simonet from the Brevard County police officer in Oklahoma, USA. The arrest record said the booking relates to a charge for driving under the influence. Simonet resigned as a senator Monday afternoon. Internationally, even in the Arctic, microscopic particles of plastic are falling out of the sky with snow, a study has found. The scientists said they were shocked by the sheer number of particles they found, more than 10,000 of them per liter in the Arctic. It means that even there, people are likely to be breathing in microplastics from the air, though the health implications remain unclear. The region is often seen as one of the world's last pristine environments. A German-Swiss team of researchers has published the work in the journal Science Advances. The scientists also found rubber particles and fibers in the snow. And we'll now take a look at what's happening in sport. Jay-Z rapped last year, "I said no to the Super Bowl. You need me. I don't need you." Now the celebrity will help produce the very show he once so publicly snubbed. This change comes after Roc Nation, the entertainment company he owns, announced it would work with the NFL to enhance live game experiences and amplify the league's social justice efforts. The multi-year partnership has been introduced with the aim of expanding the league's entertainment offerings, including the Super Bowl's iconic halftime show. According to Jay-Z, Roc Nation has shown that entertainment and enacting change are not mutually exclusive ideas. Instead, we unify them. This partnership is an opportunity to strengthen the fabric of communities across America. The NFL were willing to do some things to make some changes that can do some good. The NFL added that the agreement will nurture and strengthen community through football and music. And finally, in sport, the Ghana Cycling Federation's GCF annual general meeting has been delayed for a few months and will be convened according to the Federation. This meeting was scheduled for August 13 at 1500 hours at the Ghana Olympic Association office building, located at Liliendal on the east coast of Demerara. In a notice sent to its members, each eligible member is entitled to send not more than 2 delegates, of which one would be entitled to vote. The notice further stated that in order for any of the GCF clubs to sit in the AGM and have a vote, they must be in good standing. Resolutions must be submitted to the Federation through the General Secretary at least 14 days before the AGM. The main item would be the election of office bearers for the next 4 years, apart from the report of the Federation 2015 to 19 and the audited financial statements from 2011 to 2019. And that has brought us to the end of today's news. Before we go, here's a recap of our major headlines. House-to-house registration exercise not unconstitutional, Chief Justice rules. Plans afoot to appeal High Court decision on house-to-house registration exercise matter. President calls for inquiry into presidential guards' debt. Political situation poses challenge to economic growth, and Regina's secondary school students top CSEC. Thank you for watching Globespan 24/7 News. On behalf of myself, Samuel Suknandan, the news and technical team, until next time, do have a great evening. Goodbye for now.